6 needed, and that could be the winning hit. It is. It's 6 for Lewis Gregory, and Somerset have won by 6 wickets. Tremendous win for Somerset, chasing down 194 to win, with Will Smead leading the way.
We go then. Hello there. This is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name's Ian Shepherd. Joining me this evening is the man who has still seen more Soper overs. Let's start again. It's been a long couple of weeks. No, I won't start again. Super overs. We got far too much to get through to worry about take 2. And also, he's not wearing it, but he is the proud owner of last season's Metrobank One Day Cup shirt. Dan Kingdom. Dan, how are you going?
Not bad. I'm half good because of the women winning, but half bad because of the men's failures.
Same here. And also with us tonight is president of the club, Peter Wanless. Peter, was it Roosevelt or one of your American counterparts had a sign on the door saying the buck stops here. I imagine that's probably not quite on the door of the Sean Dixon party barn yet, but how are you going anyway?
I'm all right. My dad once said to me, if you've got nothing constructive to say, don't say anything. So I'm not sure how much I'll be saying on tonight's podcast, but as Dan says, the women have been doing very well, and I've seen a couple of fantastic innings from Sophie Luff, so perhaps we could talk about them for half an hour.
Well, we have got that on the agenda. Shall we start with that then? Because let's start with the positive. Let's start with Somerset Women's magnificent form in the women's Vitality Blast, even though I've not got that queued up on my other screen here to have a look at. But when did we last record? It feels like 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks and 2 days ago. So we will have missed, 4 Somerset Women's games?
Yeah. So the day after we last recorded was the Yorkshire game.
Yorkshire.
Which was a win.
Yeah, Yorkshire, and then a loss up at Old Trafford to Lancashire. Fantastic win at Surrey. Always good to beat Surrey. Sophie Luff with the innings of her life, 80-odd in the run chase there. And then a pretty clinical win against quite a poor Warwickshire Bears side at Taunton on Sunday. I didn't see much of those. I didn't catch a bit of the Surrey game, but Dan, you're the most clued up on this. What's changed?
Well, I think Erin Osborne is what's changed. She's instilled so much confidence in them, and it's really showing out on the pitch. I mean, Sophie Luff is obviously the prime example of going up to open and just looking like a player transforms. You know, she has scored runs in the past in T20 cricket, particularly sort of in the KSL era for Western Storm and maybe the early region era. But last couple of years, she's certainly been less productive in that format, and she's often batted almost too low. There have been times where she's come in too late and sort of coming too late to make an impact. I've always thought she should be looking to dictate the innings from the start, and that's presumably what Erin Osborne's thinking was as well in coming in and promoting her to open. And she's scored runs in pretty much every game, and she's scored extremely quickly in pretty much every game. And it's really set us up for wins. But obviously, it's not just her though. With the top 4 or 5 have scored runs. Bex Hodges is giving us a good start most of the time. Annika Leroy's been pretty reliable, batting at 3. Niamh Holland continues her development. And then bowling wise, we've got Chloe Skelton, who's just been called up to the England A team.
Yeah.
She's done pretty well. Olivia Barnes has been an absolute revelation. She's taken a couple of 3-fers, I think. She's keeping things very, very tight every game. And yeah, they just look like a proper unit. It's great to see, and we're right in the mix of finals day. It's such a turnaround from last year when we literally won 1 game in this format. This year we've won 4 already and had a tie and only had the 1 loss. So yeah, hopefully they can keep it going once the Bash resumes.
I mean, I like I said, I've caught sort of in snippets, but I did watch a bit of the women's game on Sunday. In fact, most of it. I watched 5 member way up to Taunton, but I tweeted they're out cricket, and they're just body language and their fielding just seems to be on a different level to last year. They just seem like Erin's given them the confidence. They feel more confident in batting in decision making, and it was what they talked about doing pre-season. It's so good to see that they've gone out and been able to put it out on the park, and instead of it just being sort of empty words that we all want to hear pre-season, they put it into practice, and it's fantastic. And long may it continue.
Yeah, and yeah, and entertaining. And yeah, I saw all three of the wins. Didn't make it to Old Trafford for the loss, but yeah, they're great. They're a great team to watch. Lola Harris, I really like
Mm.
as well. I just think she's
Yeah.
the way she bowls it is really attacking, and taking wickets as well. Great prospect. Vukovic as well. They've just got lots of really good players playing for one another, and certainly that game on Sunday against Warwickshire. I mean, the catches they took were class, and Warwickshire were pretty sloppy in the field, and you really noticed the difference. It's great to see. It was in terms of the outfielding, yeah, it was a bit like watching the men last year.
Yeah, we'll come on to that. I mean, I will hold my hands up. I was a little bit sceptical when Luffy went out first game against Hampshire, wasn't it? The first game, and she looked pretty scruffy for sort of a runnable five. And then she was dropped. Was he dropped first ball or out for no ball against Warwickshire
Against
Edgerton?
Warwickshire, I think,
Two
yeah, pretty
options.
much,
One
yeah.
was out for no ball, and one was dropped. But since then, she's just gone on this incredible run of form, and it's just
Yeah,
fantastic. I mean, you can tell how much it means to her. You know, the way she walked off at the Oval after that run chase. She's proper Somerset made, is our Sophie Love, you know, and that must mean the absolute world to her. Because there were the sort of times last year when her place in that team was questioned in the 20 over side. She was, you know, there was a time when she was coming back from an injury and she didn't play a game after. And you kind of thought, could she have played? Is she sort of just taken a bit of a step back? But since that, it's confidence. I think her confidence is sky high, and you know, it's incredible. And long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Stick her in for Will Smead.
yeah.
Fantastic stuff. So Somerset, well, they stopped the T20 Blast now because we've got Championship back. So they are in Metrobank One Day Cup action. They're at Exmouth next Wednesday, aren't they?
Saturday, isn't the
Oh,
game
sorry.
on Saturday?
No, it won't be at Saturday.
Saturday at Taunton, yeah.
Yeah,
Saturday at Taunton. And
next
then,
Wednesday.
yeah, they are Exmouth on the 17th. Gibbo's trying to join. He's in Nottingham, probably the Hilton, maybe I don't know, one of the magnificent boutique hotels up there in the East Midlands. Can you hear us, Gibbo? Maybe not yet. Right, carrying on then. Yeah, so I've lost my place now. Right, best of luck to Sophie and the girls back in 50 over format. Right, where should we start then? Because I can pinpoint exactly where it went wrong since Banton was adjudged caught behind at Cardiff. Since then, it's been literally downhill all the way. And we've had bad luck with injuries. You know, I know we like to toss, but we should, you know, if you're a champion team, you should be able to defend as well. We just seem to have lost our mojo defending. We're getting injuries left, right, and centre. We're dropping simple catches that we would have taken easily a couple of years ago. I mean, it's the only good thing for me, I suppose, is it's gone wrong quickly, so it can very, very quickly righten itself. Once we get back, you know, beat the Gloucesters next week or week after, whenever it is, 26th, then we're on the road again. But I mean, it's pretty much a case of whatever could go wrong has gone wrong.
Yeah, I mean, when we last recorded, we were riding high off the top of 2 wins to start the competition when no major issues really showed themselves. It looked like we were just carrying on where we left off last year. But yeah, as you say, after the first sort of 6 to 10 overs at Cardiff, everything has gone wrong. Like we haven't been able to defend any scores. You know, we won the first 2 games bowling first, and then we've had 4 in a row we batted first, not won any of them. 2 of them we got completely inadequate scores, obviously, at Cardiff and Bristol. Yeah, the Bristol performance was just shocking from the start, wasn't it? Banton got out first ball in the game, and then we were literally never in the game. It was just a very depressing night. Warwickshire and Glamorgan at home, we potentially should have defended those scores. I feel like in both games we left a few runs out there, but we probably
Yeah.
probably should have defended both of those totals. To be honest, like at Taunton, we know that scores of 200 plus can be chased. You know, we've done it ourselves and we've had it done to us, I
Mhm.
think. But you think a team like ours that has, you know, won two of the last three blasts, reaches final state regularly, should be able to defend 200 plus on its own home ground.
Well, I mean,
But
we aren't the team, though, are we?
well,
That's
no,
the
I
thing.
know that's the problem. We've
We had no Meredith, we had no Green, and I think
I feel
Greener
like
is.
I think Daniel Sams has done a decent job replacing Green.
Yeah.
To be fair. Compared to last year, but this stage of the group stage last year, we had Meredith
Mm.
and Henry. Like we were able to save
Yeah.
Riley Meredith for the second half of the innings. Like we were absolutely unbelievable. But I think someone pointed out on Twitter. I can't remember who it was, sadly, but towards the end of last year's competition, we weren't really taking power play wickets, and that was when we didn't have Riley Meredith on finals day, and obviously we lost Matt Henry by then, and that's continued into this season. Um, we failed to take power play wickets in pretty much every game, and that's been a factor, I think, as well in our struggles. We've struggled to take wickets regularly at all, like in the last few games, but particularly in the power play. We've been so reliable in recent years of getting early wickets that it was just like clockwork every time, you know, for the most part. In the last sort of 5 or so years, we've had guys like Craig Overton, Matt Henry, Josh Davey a few years ago at his peak was really effective at taking power play wickets. And that often set us up for wins. But this year, it just hasn't been there at all, and we've been chasing the game, you know, post the power play. And I think that's a big factor in what's changed since last season.
Yeah.
The other thing that's a bit different, and it's all fine margins, isn't it? I mean, if Steve were here, he'd tell that old kind of baseball thing that they play 162 games, you win 54, you lose 54, and it's what happens in the other 54 that matter. And you're gonna lose some games, hopefully not as badly as we did at Glamorgan and Gloucester, which just happened to be the two games my brother went to, by the way. So I kind of blame him slightly for that.
Well, wasn't it Father's Day last year?
He was actually, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
there you go. He's kind of yin and yang. He sort of balances.
That is true. That is true. Well, it's when he's there and I'm not that I think we have a problem.
Oh, okay.
But the other thing, and I hesitate to question it because he has been such an inspirational captain. But Lewis Gregory has done some strange things with his bowling changes, and there was a sort of sense in that everyone knew their place in the team and had a role to play, and there was always someone that would bail us out, whether it was batting or whether it was bowling, and this time he's switched things around a bit, and you sort of scratched your head a bit and thought, why didn't Craig Overton bowl the next over after that wicket maiden? Why didn't Alfie bowl 2 overs in a row rather than hold him back for the late over against Warwickshire? Now, in retrospect, these things are really easy to kind of pick up and criticise, but at the same time, his kind of golden touch of instinct isn't quite working in the way it has previous seasons, and because the margins are so fine, I would put both those home games in the kind of the 54 could have gone either way type games. And in other seasons, our outfielding would have been exemplary, the bowling changes would have worked, we'd have continued to take wickets, but especially in that Warwickshire game, it just felt it was slipping away from us all the time. It was relentless. And Daniel Sams, he's been okay, but he's to be slightly critical, he's not Bo Webster, who completely took the game by the scruff of the neck and won it for Warwickshire. And Sams hasn't quite done that for us yet, has he? So yeah, it's frustrating, and I think you tweeted, Dan, it's a long time since we've lost 4 T20 games on the trot.
Long time.
10 years?
2017, I think it was.
My word.
About 2016/17. It was across 2 seasons. I think we lost the last sort of 6 or so of 2016 and the last 3 or so of 2017. It was something like, last 6 of 2016, first 3 of 2017, something along those lines. It was about 9 in a row in total. So hopefully we won't be matching that.
Yeah. maybe we've been spoiled. I mean, I was up at the Oval for the Somerset Women against Surrey Women, and after that, Surrey played Kent, and Surrey got absolutely walloped by Kent. And you look at their team, and you think that is an extraordinary side. And so, it does happen. They were beaten as badly by Kent as we were beaten by Glamorgan at Cardiff. So you will lose some game. Every team loses some games. We're not used to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact is that we're not playing as well as we can as well, which is
No.
there are obvious areas of deficiency at the moment, and most notably the fielding and the death bowling as well, particularly on Sunday night was left a lot to be desired. I mean, we talked about the batting depth. It just goes to show how much we miss Will Smead. Even though you can put somebody else in there and Tom Bandy can still go great guns, this formula that the batting is built around of Smead, Banton, and Tom Kohler-Cadmore as well, who we've missed. Those three absolute world-class strikers of a cricket ball who will take you down if you are even an inch off of line and length. And then three quality players in the middle order in Abel, in Dixon and Gregory, who can play the situation as needed, and then bowling all-rounders Craig Overton, Lewis Goldsworthy et al. Or just had a go. I don't know what the issue is with the mic. I've tried the iPhone. It's too old to download the Riverside app. Many apologies. I'm enjoying listening in. Okay, well, nice to see you, Gibbo, even though he is trying to listen. I mean, and that kind of been ripped up a little bit, and because the squad now is very, very small, I think it's 21 or 22, it's difficult to rebuild that from the personnel that we've got available. I mean, look at Jordan Herman. He came in at 3, and although I've been told off for being ultra critical, he didn't really get going in either of the 2 games previously. And then he finished off, 90 off 48 balls, but he was 20 off 20. And at Taunton, that's criminal. You can't leave. You can be a slow starter, but you've got to be 30 off 20 slow, not 20 off 20 slow. And I know it sounds churlish to criticise a guy who got 90, but we're talking about fine margins and games that could go either way. Another 5-10 runs would have potentially made that all the difference. It does sound churlish. Sorry, Jordan, but we're sort of 75 for 3, I think, at halfway Sunday, which is not ideal.
Yeah, he's not the best starter, but obviously the end result was great. He batted really well in the end, but he's clearly not the best starter in this format, and it's maybe an area of his game where he is, where he needs to improve and where he probably knows that it's a flaw and will look to improve. But you do get guys sometimes like Babar Azam when I think his second innings for the club for Somerset against Hampshire, we batted first. Babar batted through the innings, but batted a little bit too slowly, and we only got 170 odd, and it was chased down with a few balls to spare. Sometimes guys don't quite realise that at Taunton you really need a lot of runs, and even 200, even 200 is not necessarily enough, as we've seen. I'm sure Herman is aware of that. He will know. He will have been told, obviously, but even so, some of those guys do take a bit of getting used to the really high scores that you need in T20 cricket at Taunton.
Yeah, but we were. He wouldn't have been in the team if we had our first choices, and it feels tough to blame the batters when really it is possible to defend 200, isn't it? And we know we can bowl a lot. We have bowled a lot better than we've done in the 4 games which we've just seen.
I mean, we defended 150 at Taunton a couple of years ago, didn't we, against Essex in the group game 2023, the year we won it?
Yeah.
And that was an exemplary bowling performance, which was a little bit different to today. I was trying to get in again. I mean, where do we go from here then? I mean, the Champos come at a great time now. We'll talk about that in a second. Pause, hopefully get some guys back from injury. I know Kohler-Cadmore shared a lift with him up to the media centre on Sunday afternoon, and he was sort of he's hitting balls now, but he's really sort of physio on his wrist now to try and get some movement back in there. But he's very close to coming back. I think there's a second team game next week. He's going to try and have a bat in, which is great news. Fingers crossed for your TKC that all goes well and you're back sooner rather than later. No real timescale with anybody else's. I did enjoy the criticism of the club's injury update, which was writing the same thing 4 different ways for 4 different batters.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I do understand the situation where you can't put a timescale on these things, because if it goes wrong, you get hung, drawn, and quartered for it. But at the same time, you can certainly put I think you can put a broad enough window on it, surely, to say the expected injury time subject to this, that, and the other is a month, 6 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever.
Yeah, I think they could have put an estimated range of recovery. Our estimation is 2 to 4 weeks. Something like that would have been useful.
Yeah.
And they can say the word estimation. That covers their backs. Like,
Well,
no one is going to hold them
setbacks.
to it. Yeah, exactly. I think they could have been a bit more detail if that was possible. I know with some injuries you cannot give a timescale. I understand that, but surely on some of them they could have given.
Yeah, like Emma Corney's ACL. I mean, she was hoping to be back playing by now, but it's taken a little bit longer, which is it's fair enough. And nobody's storming Jamie Thorpe's office going, "What you said she'd be back by now, and she's not back." And it's like, it's takes a little bit longer. If it takes a bit longer, it takes a bit longer. It was quite annoying as well that all the players listed in the injury update on the graphic, they had green ticks next to them, and the tick meant they're included in the injury update, not that they're fixed, which was a little bit misleading. And I'm sure if the Advertising Standards Agency got involved, the club would be slapped down with a hefty fine.
I remember once working with someone who on some kind of course or other, and he was responsible for maintaining the trains on one of the railway lines, and they took huge pride in the number of trains which they were fixing. And how many they had in the warehouse at any one time, and of course, what people really wanted was the trains running, and none of them in the warehouse and being fixed quickly. And it's that sort of backward thing. It's almost like we don't really need to know that these players are injured. As supporters, we're aware they're injured, and I think it's fair comment. Tell us something we don't know, or make us feel we're slightly in the loop. I think it's a reasonable feedback.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, well, yes, speedy and swifty recoveries to Will Smead, Tom Cuddy-Cowmore, Tom Abel, and Tom Lammerby. Is that it?
Yeah, for T20 blast purposes. Finn Hill's injured as well.
And Emma Corney, as you mentioned. I think it's just those two.
Speed recoveries, one and all. What else do we need to talk about? Talk about the lights. What on earth's going on there?
Here we go.
I enjoyed the conspiracy theories from the Glamorgan faithful that we deliberately turned the lights off because we were going to lose.
Ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
I think it's probably for the best that we did lose, because if we had won, then those lights going out with 4 balls. It was terrible, wasn't it? I mean, and obviously not deliberate, and incredibly frustrating with the cameras there, and the eyes of the game on us, and we have ambitions and aspirations, and actually a requirement to be a kind of go-to venue for high-profile matches, which we pulled off with great success in terms of the women's T20 international. So it's not that we can't do it, but it has to be reliable, doesn't it? And I think all of us were pulling our hair out, and it just felt chaotic, didn't it? I think in the Glamorgan game.
Yeah, we got Caddick Jr., young Fraser, Andy's son, is training to be an electrician, I think, or he is an electrician, but he's not qualified enough electrician to touch the things that he was looking at. But he was sort of down there straight away, and he was having a look, and then we waited for the engineer to come. In the club's defence, I'm sure you back me up on this, Peter. After they were a bit iffy during the Sussex game, they were given a good old inspection.
Yeah.
They were checked over. We're not that slapdash. I think we've got 3 big games coming up on Sky. Just our fingers crossed it'll be all right. They were given a clean bill of health, but I think the situation now is there needs to be a bit more of a root and branch investigation into what's going on.
Yeah. And there is some urgency to it. I mean, we're sort of saying, oh well, we've got a bit of time because we don't need them until the next Blast game, but actually that's not entirely true. If the light isn't good in the county championship game next week, then we don't want to lose overs. We want to be able to use the artificial light if we have to. But clearly, it's all hands to the pump is the wrong. That would be if we had flooding. But all people who know what they're doing, hands to the switch or the circuit board or whatever is required, because it's absolutely, in the same way the drainage was a massive issue for us, which had to be sorted, and we have sorted decisively compared with previous seasons, at the start where we sat there watching drying outfields and that sort of stuff. So I have every confidence the club understands the significance of this issue, but it's a frustration when you don't know exactly why and what, and you think you've sorted it, and then there's something else going on.
Yeah, it is. It is frustrating. I mean, I suppose as well, getting it sorted early is the kind of parts that those things need. I would imagine aren't the kind of things that you can just nip down a screw fix and grab. Well, maybe they are. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's sorted. Yeah, there's all sorts of. Could it be to do with the sort of the supply coming in from the national grid? Is there any extra infrastructure gone up? There's a bit of building work going around Firepool. Is that drawing extra power? I mean, who knows? It needs
Who knows?
all the stakeholders to come together and get it sorted.
The frustrating thing for the club is that we are a cricket club, not an electricians club. So we are relying on other people to tell us, oh yeah, it's all fine. We need other people to come in and fix it. So while it is kind of embarrassing for the club that this happened, and it is to some extent the club's responsibility, we are ultimately in the hands of electricians and the national grid, etc. So we need to, do everything we can, but we need to hope that they know what they're doing to the extent that they can fix it and fix it permanently. We've got 4 floodlit games left, I think, 2 T20 games and 2 50-over games. And I mean, if we think there's going to continue to be a risk of them going off, we're going to maybe have to replace them eventually, but we might have to move games earlier, which obviously we definitely do not want to have to do that, particularly the T20 games, but also the 50-over games. The 50-over games that are floodlit, Friday evenings, they're going to be attractive for fans to go to. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, hopefully they sort it.
When did they come in? Was it 2017, 2018?
19.
2019. I was getting behind myself. 2019, that late, was it?
Yeah, I know. It's mad, isn't it? We were us and Worcester were the only clubs without floodlights for quite a few years, and then we finally got them in the winter of 2018 into the 2019 season, and they've not really had any issues, have they? The only issue I remember with them before the Sussex game, the only time I remember there being an issue was against Kent in 2019. There was a T20, and at half time they did a bit of a light show with the floodlights going on and off and doing in patterns and stuff, and it kept going longer than it should have. And it was on Sky as well, and he couldn't get it off, it seemed, for a few minutes. So that slightly delayed the start of the second innings. But yeah, thankfully they were able to get them back to how
I
they
wonder
should have
why
been.
we hadn't done that again.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I know. I think that was maybe the second time we did it. I don't know, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we have not done it since then. I mean,
that was a big deal, wasn't
it?
When they first came in, there was a lot of fuss about it because we sort of skipped a generation of technology and went straight to the laser lights, and there was all this talk about how they're going to be able to do light shows and all the rest of it, and we haven't seen much evidence of that. Perhaps that was the reason. Tried once, and it was a bit of a problem.
Yes.
I don't think we're allowed to do. I think the local residents aren't fans of the light show.
No,
they begrudgingly let us use them for some Blast games a year. But yeah, we had that farcical situation a couple of weeks ago, and they had to be off at 7 o'clock. Everybody traipsed off midway through and over.
Yeah. Never knew that was
dear.
a rule. I guess it's in the planning permission. I'll have to dig it up.
Yeah. Stupid. Right. Should we move on to the county championship then, which returns tomorrow? Somerset up at the defending champions Nottinghamshire, taking them on at Trent Bridge. Have we all remembered what happened in last year's game, or rather what didn't happen in last year's game?
They didn't change the ball.
Yeah, we had there's the 175 over old ball or whatever it is. It's in the museum at the moment. Lewis Gregory refusing to change it, having the Notts batsman slap a haggis around rather than a nice crisp shiny new ball that would fly to the boundary. Shall we hope for a slightly better wicket and a slightly better chance of a result? I still think with the side we've got half a chance of coming away from there with a decent points haul. I'd rather it be played on a sporting wicket. Well, not a sporting wicket, but a good cricket wicket where we've got a chance of winning and a chance of losing, but not one where it's inevitably going to be Jamie Thorpe pulling his whites on to go and have a bit of a field on day 4 and James Rue chucking down some of his left arm spin.
Yeah, the strength of the team is obviously the bowling, isn't it? Like, the bowling is not hit by injuries. The batting is extremely hit by injuries. We've got such a young batting lineup for this game. Like, no Abel, no Lammonby, no TKC. Like, at least we've got Goldsworthy back relative to the last championship game. But yeah, I mean, Thomas Rue is obviously playing. And yeah, obviously the elephant in the room is Tom Banton, who his last first-class match, and dare I say it, could it be the last first-class match of his career, was against Notts at Trent Bridge last year.
Yeah, so let's read the quote, which we alluded to earlier. Tom Banton is unavailable to be considered for selection for the next 2 Rothesay County Championship matches, as he seeks to ensure that he is able to perform at his optimum level in the next block of Vitality Blast fixtures, which is 2, because he's probably going to be in the England T20 squad following those. Again, it's very cryptic, isn't it? It's one of those statements that raises more questions than it answers. I mean, you speculated down that he's considering a Red Bull retirement.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I've tried to think about this, logically, and when you for a start, I think it seems to me that it's his decision. The way it's worded is that he has decided he does not want to play these 2 matches, because it wouldn't make any sense for the club to say, "Oh no, we don't. We think you should take a rest for these 2 games." Like, he doesn't need a rest. He's hardly played. Before the blast, he hardly played for a while.
Yeah,
we obviously have a chance of winning the county championship. We do not have as much of a chance of winning the blast. So we would, and also we clearly
to win the championship, 16-1 to win the blast. I looked up the race.
And yeah, exactly. And clearly we need him ideally for this game. If we had no injuries, he probably wouldn't get in the team, to be honest. But we've got so many injuries that he does get in the team for me. So it seems to be that he has opted out of these 2 games. So it could just be that he wants a break from Red Bull cricket. I'm not saying he's going to retire Red Bull cricket by any means. It's just that
it's not a break. It's not a break from Red Bull cricket for him, is it? Because he hasn't played Red Bull cricket since last year. So look, I don't know. I think it's a weirdly phrased statement, which I'm receiving is the same as both of you. If I were trying to think about it from his point of view, he's got a white ball series with England coming up, and he's got a couple of important games with us which we have to win if we're going to stay in the blast. He hasn't played or maybe trained for Red Bull cricket for the best part of a year, so why not keep in the white ball zone and concentrate all your effort and energies on that particular set of skills so you are good to go. But why not just say that?
I mean, that makes perfect sense. Tom Banton's not in the squad because where would he have had? Well, he was injured, then he came back and he's pretty much available for the blast straight away. So he's going to blast mode. And we've had, 2 days for him to have a bit of a Red Bull Red Bull reset, if you like.
Reset, yeah.
He comes into the side facing the likes of, Notts got a pretty decent seam attack, Pennington et al. and whoever, and
Fergus
gets a couple of low
O'Neill.
scores. Yeah, he gets a couple of low scores. It's all of it's just completely different to what he's been doing. Yeah, that makes sense. So if that is the read,
yeah. And the other thing is that at least we've got James Rue in the squad, and we expect playing for us. Look, again, this is complete sort of speculation, and I don't even know how these things work, but would we do some sort of a deal with England where we keep Banton fresh and fit and focused on the white ball, and they let us play James Rue because we haven't got enough batters to come up with a competitive team without him, and they were pretty good actually at releasing both the Rues for the games last week, it seems, when we were fearful that we wouldn't see either of them last weekend. So I don't know. I don't think we ever really find out how these conversations work.
no,
But you could create a story around that, I suppose, couldn't you? That we've somehow sort of traded Banton for James Rue somehow or other.
it was an 11th hour release, wasn't it? James Rue back into the squad. I mean, in an ideal world, I would have liked to have seen Thomas Rue given a bit of a break, because I think just a couple of things watching him over the weekend. Drop catch against Glamorgan at mid wicket. It was one that you'd expect to be taken at sort of any level of cricket, and he played quite a tired looking shot first ball against Warwickshire on Sunday as well. And I just wonder, maybe he's been here, there, and everywhere. England Lions, SA20, A levels, first season as a professional cricketer, here, there, and everywhere. Play up to the England A squad over the weekend as well.
Under 19 World Cup as well.
Under 19 World Cup as well. Yeah, so he's had a very long winter, and I think it possibly maybe just adding up on the guy, and he maybe just need to, A levels of finishing, jump on that easy jet to Magaluf with his mates for a week or two. Do you know what I mean? But be home by midnight, James. Thomas, be home by midnight. All bad things happen. Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I just kind of got that feeling that it is tough, that first full season as a pro. We talked about with Archie Vaughan a couple of years ago. We kind of booked that sort of last quarter of 2024. I think he just sort of got through it on adrenaline. That winner was Surrey, bowled well against Durham, off to finals day, to the Metrobank final. Just a whirlwind of a start, and then coming into 2025, it was just like, okay, a bit more, it's a bit more expectation, that sort of thing. I just wonder, maybe he just needs a little bit of a reset. Not the whole season off, but just find some scheduled rest for him, which is why, again, it would have made sense for Banton to come in. But then we've just discussed why it makes sense for Banton to not come in. So it's very.
I think the thing with Thomas has had it great, has had a really good career. He's had a brilliant start to his career at such a young age. It, in a way, is a good thing for him to struggle for a bit, because you learn from your struggles, you learn from failures. So, Thomas is just making his way in professional cricket, and we will see, he's struggled in the Blast so far. He batted okay at Bristol, got 26 or 15 or so. But he will, in the long term, benefit from this little period, I think, because you learn more from failures than from successes. So, and we all know he is going to be a very, very good player in the future. So, yeah, he's just got to be given time. And he is going to play this game, obviously. So hopefully he can, there's not as much pressure as in T20. If it's a flat wicket at Trent Bridge, which it could be once again, he's got a real opportunity to take his time and score a lot of runs. So we'll see.
Well, that's squad in full then. Archie, well, this is the order it's listed on the club website. Archie Vaughan, Josh Thomas, Jordan Herman, James Rue, Thomas Rue, Lewis Gregory, Lewis Goldsworthy, Craig Overton, Miguel Pretorius, Kean Roberts. I think that's the first time he's been included in a championship squad. So well done, Kean. Jack Leach, Alfie Osborne, and Jake Ball. So I would potentially, I'd put Goldsworthy, well, open with Thomas and Herman. I'd go Goldsworthy at 3. James at 4, Thomas at 5, Archie at 6, Gregory at 7, and then Overton, Pretorius, Ogborne, and Leach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably the
sounds good.
strongest team. It's just
Believe
whether
that.
there might be a thought of playing ball at Trent Bridge, his old ground, and
Yeah.
obviously there's another championship game the following week, so it might be that Ogborne is saved for that game. Perhaps he might not play both. There are other factors, but yeah, the team you said is our strongest 11 for sure. That's available.
I just wonder whether he might go Ball just because he's more senior, more experienced. But then you got to play Alpha. You've got plenty of other bowlers there. You got Jack, Craig, Lewis, Miggy P as well. So you got plenty of options there to Archie as well to hold an end up if needed.
Yep.
So any advance on that?
No, that's the team
No.
I would pick as well. And that batting order as well.
Yeah, Golders at 3. I think so. Yeah, Golders is just Mr. Versatile. You bat anywhere. You know what you're going to get with him. Versatile and reliable with Golders. Yeah.
We've talked before about whether Craig and Lewis Gregory should bat, in which order they should come in. And clearly, Craig's been in very good form this season and has been coming in ahead of Lewis Gregory. But that's a detail,
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think he will again.
Well, Craig scored 100, didn't he, against Sussex the last time we batted? So probably will
Certainly
again.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, man's in some good form. Right, do we have anything else then to talk about what's been pretty much the most difficult week or difficult 2 weeks? Probably has been the worst 2 weeks since we started doing this.
Well, yeah, I mean, losing 4 T20s in a row is unprecedented. It's unprecedented in recent years. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a product of the injuries and the fact that sport does go in cycles to some extent. It's difficult to keep doing it over and over again every year. And the last 5 years have been absolutely unbelievable. So if this is the payoff for that, then whatever, that's the way. That's one way of looking at it.
I mean, especially when you also consider that we've had such a shift in personnel as well as all the injuries. Yeah. I mean, the side that we put out Sunday was virtually. Well, let's have a look. It was in that side from finals day. Banton wasn't. Thomas wasn't. James Rue was. Gregory was. Goldsworthy was. Overton was, and Ball played in the final, didn't he? So that good call. So 5. Only got 5 of the side that won the Blast final last year.
Have you had a chance to watch any of the other teams in the Blast? I mean, Northants are going great guns, aren't they? And we've still got to play them twice.
Derbyshire as well. That's our wild card game, and they're outperforming their sort of bottom seed ranking. I think that's how they do it. We played Hampshire second and Derbyshire, who were 18th, to sort of balance out the wild card games. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, to get that best third, we're going to have to win 5 at least, you reckon?
Yeah, it's hard to know as always, isn't it? Like 5 of our remaining 6 might be enough. That'd be 7 wins overall. Often in the Blast, it is sort of a bit more than half the games. If you win more than just over half your games, that's enough. I mean, I think we need to win them all to be secure. And even then, I don't know. But yeah, 5 of the 6 should be enough. And something that's been really interesting actually is the crossover matches that have happened so far. I'm pretty sure there have been 9, and of the 6 involving teams in our group, 5 of them were won by the team from our group. So there are actually a lot of points inside our group, relative to the other groups. So that makes it harder. That makes it harder to get above some of the teams in our group, but it takes points out of other groups, which could be in our favour when it comes to best third place. If we end up in third, it might work in our favour, the fact there are slightly fewer points in the other groups, and that our teams in our groups have been taking points off the teams in other groups. But we need to actually make sure we get above enough teams in our group as well. But Yeah, that's an interesting little dynamic in
I
in
mean,
the class.
it is pretty tight. Where well, Northants they're running away with it, undefeated, 6 out of 6, 24 points. The Gloucesters, I mean, who thought that after they'd lost half their bowling attack? But they've recruited pretty well. That Jansen looks a decent
Yeah,
bowler.
Janssen is
Maybe
good.
as good
Janssen is
as his
very good.
brother. But
David
Glamon,
Payne hasn't been playing, has he?
David Payne, yeah. So they've lost pretty much their whole bowling attack, and they're still going strong. Glamorgan played 3, lost 3 on 12. Worcester the same, and then we're on 8 and Warwickshire on 4. All teams having played 6, so it is there for the taking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've still got to play Worcester. We still got to play Worcester twice, I think we haven't we? Yeah, we've got to play Worcester twice.
Worcester twice, Northants twice,
Yeah.
Derbyshire and Gloucestershire.
Gloucester at home.
Yeah. So we played Warwickshire twice. So they, in effect, if they win, they sort of wouldn't claw up ground on us, if you like. And yeah, so it's still there. And I mean, a couple of years ago, Gloucester had an absolutely terrible start, and they ended up winning it. Who's to say that with a few more bodies back in the ranks, Riley Meredith finally over to play his part. Maybe another shrewd little overseas signing. Probably not if we got Sam's already, but I think it's still there. We aren't out of this.
No, we're not.
Play as badly as we sort of field and bowl as badly as we have done in sort of the last couple of games. Due a bit of luck with the tosses, start chasing again. Will Smead back, hopefully. More hopefully.
Banton, having concentrated on his white ball training for the next 2 weeks, will be unstoppable.
Fiercely concentrating he is. Have we got any listeners' questions this week? I think everyone's sort of got themselves cleansed on social media of all their frustrations, and they're not taking them out on us tonight. Not that they did really, but let's have a look. I think there isn't anything that we haven't already discussed.
It's the Somerset AGM in a fortnight, so members should have had their papers through. There's no need to vote for me this year. I'm entering my final year as the president, but there are 1 or 2 other things to vote for. You can vote for a member director.
I've completed that. It was in my junk mail though, so have a look in your junk mail, particularly if you're on Hotmail or Outlook. What's it from? Cevica, Cevica, is that it?
Civicus.
Yeah, so it'll say like all Somerset AGM and stuff. So do have a look for that. Have a trawl back through your junk mail for a couple of weeks if you've not seen that. Nothing really from our side of lifers to have a little chat about. We're all good then.
I had a very nice day at Lord's at the Test match as a guest of the MCC president, and I sat next Mr. Ed Smith. And
then he's the chair. Oh, he's the chair. Sorry,
he's the chair. So, and I went on the Friday, which was the day that there was a full day's play. So that was fun. But I met there Tom Holland, who is one half of The Rest Is History. So we had a very nice. So we had a very nice chat about podcasts.
Not Spider-Man.
No, that's Tom Hollander, isn't it? Yeah.
So Tom Holland is Spider-Man. There's the young Tom Holland who is Spider-Man. Then there's Tom Hollander who is in things like The Thick of It and Pirates of the Caribbean.
You're right. Yeah. And then there's this other Tom Holland who is a historian, and so he's done a very interesting series on the history of the Oval, a sort of 11-part podcast, which is interesting, although it is about Surrey and the Oval, which is a bit disappointing. He confessed to me that the first cricket match he ever went to was at Clarence Park, Western-super-Mare for Somerset, and that he felt slightly guilty and slightly dirty for having become a Surrey fan now that he lives in London. So I said I was going to make it my afternoon to ensure that he continued to feel extremely guilty about it, and that he really ought to revert to his roots and come back to being a Somerset supporter. But perhaps a slight opening there for us to do the rest is cricket.
Isn't that already taken over? They got the rest is entertainment,
the rest is football,
the rest is football, the rest
they haven't got the rest is cricket.
Haven't they? Are we high
No,
profile enough?
so he's my new friend. You see, there could be a really
Ah,
lucrative possibility for the
absolutely.
podcast there.
Well,
So
I
it
mean,
may have been a day well spent.
he should be a Somerset fan. I mean, his cousin Neve is going great guns, and his uncle Keith used to play for us as well. So, yeah, come on, Tom Holland. Tom Holland, Tom Hollander, and then who's Tom Hollandist? Oh, am I just repeating a silly joke that I saw on the internet a while ago?
There is one,
It didn't make me laugh. Didn't make me laugh, so I don't know why I thought it would make you laugh. Any other business then before we knock this on the head for another week?
No, don't
No.
think so.
All good. Right. Thanks, gents. Thanks for listening. Best of luck to Lewis Gregory and the boys up at Trent Bridge tomorrow. Change of format, change of fortune. Fingers crossed. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Ta-ra.
Cheers.